What's up, YouTubians? Gary, VW Jawbreaker. Welcome back to another video. We're going to try to get some work done before the afternoon skies open up on us. But today we are back on the Sickxty. That's right, that 1960 Volksrod Baja Franken Beetle build. And this thing's come a long way. I think I'm going to end up doing some kind of almost like a build overview, right? Because we've got all those videos on the channel in the playlist on this entire car. But man, that's a lot of hours to watch. So I'm thinking about, I might actually do that. Anyway, today, yeah, we need to go ahead and start working on this rear bumper cage. So I picked this one up at a local swap meet. It's a nice dual tube rear bumper situation. However, it wasn't until after I got home that I realized that this one is a firewall mount. So basically, these will mount up on the firewall of the car instead of going over to the shock towers. Problem is, there's stuff in the way. And I believe shock tower is going to be stronger. So we need to modify it. First, we need to go ahead and cut both of these off. And then we can go ahead and slide this in place. But the question is, will it clear the exhaust? Remember that muffler we put on there? Will it clear the exhaust? And oh, speaking of the exhaust, for the guy that said the muffler is way too low and the departure angle is wrong, yeah, that sits up plenty high. That sits up plenty high. Here's the exhaust. Yeah, it's fine. And the cage is going to be slightly underneath that coming up. Hopefully. I don't know. In order to slide it on, we got to cut those off. So let's do that. Now I already installed the pieces underneath. Ooh, I actually got them lined up. All right, place your bets. Will it clear the muffler? You know what? Hold on. It is mostly level. You see, I've actually got clearance on the muffler, and that is slid all the way in. So we are good there. Smidge more on that side than the other. But I like it. I think that'll look pretty good on the back, actually. And now it's starting to rain. What I plan on doing is taking those ones that we cut off, and we can actually, hold on, let me switch hands. Actually take those and weld them in. Probably something like that. And make some extension parts to go up this side. Oh yeah, perfect. So actually flip it around, cut that side at an angle. Ooh, I kind of like that. And it kind of gets welded back in the same spot. Ooh, I like that. All right, well, you go on a tubing hunt to find some tubing, because these are the mounts that would normally go on the firewall, and that's not going to work for the shock mount under there. So I've got some 1/8 inch plate or something like that. It's actually more heavy duty than what came on there. I've got some thicker stuff, but we might use that. Do have some Schedule 40 pipe. We might be able to use that. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, but look at that. Muffler clears. There's the back bumper. Actually does not look half bad. I think I like it. Now here's the cool thing. Here's the cool thing. Big old piece of angle iron, which we will mount down in there. And then we'll take this extension that we used to use on Jawbreaker when we had the dual stingers, and I'll lop it off probably about here. And then this will get welded to this, which will get welded to that with some extra gussets. It'll be solid. All right, I gotta find some pipe. All right, it's in place. So I used a piece of angle iron to kind of clamp on the bottom to hold the bottom tube in place. That is just tacked in place, and of course that's going to go to the shock mount. Ended up finding some 1-inch diameter schedule 40, some real thick wall pipe, tubing, whichever, it's all the same. It's different, it's not the same. So that'll slip through, we'll have a bolt go through, but I don't know, kind of having second thoughts now. I think it looks better being on this lower tube instead of the upper tube, just because then it's a lot more flat. All right, really starting to have second thoughts on this. Of course, on this side, you know, camera stopped recording. I had to move my oil filter mount over just a tad. It's not touching, it's close, but it's not touching because the fittings were protruding this way too far, and well, you got it. It was in the way. All right, side 2, I think. I don't know, maybe it's break time? Smoking! So I got the top sides burned in. Of course, the camera didn't record, sorry. So I went ahead and put 2 passes. You can't see it. Put 2 passes on that. It'll grind up and clean up a little bit. So at least that's good and solid. Wow, the sun's really in the way. I'm in the way, not the sun. Well, I need to sleep on this some more. Not 100% sure yet. Not 100% sure. I like it, but I don't. I don't know. I don't know. It's too stinking hot. I'm soaked through my clothes. I've only been out here for 2 hours. Let's try this again. So we've got car up on jack stands. No, I didn't record it, because how many times can you see somebody jack up a car, put jack stands under there, and take tires off, right? So here's the plan. The side part that we added, which is right here, which is this 1-inch schedule 40. It's some thick pipe. I mean, that's much thicker than what is originally on this thing. So this will be nice and strong. So we're gonna go ahead, pull the upper shock mount, because we need to make that plate to bolt on here, come back just a little bit, and then that pipe will weld right here, and that'll give us our upper mount. And since we're doing that, I mean, we've got to pull the top shock bolt off, so we might as well go ahead and pull the bottom one off and throw some air shocks on, because why? Well, these torsion bars are kind of weak, and I've actually indexed these things 3 times, and it still sags. Yeah, I know, there's a proper fix. You get new torsion bars, but for 1/3 of the cost, I got the air shocks. It'll work for now. I'm not looking to jack the back end up, because, you know, it's swing axle, so I'll get a positive camber out of it. It's just gonna make handling bad. You will flip your bug. I don't know. Haha. Normally I say, ask me how I know. I don't know, but I've heard, not to mention, just it makes sense. So we're gonna put them back there, just enough pressure just to kind of level it and keep my tires straight. Right now I have just a little bit of negative camber, and I want that gone. And again, these torsion bars are just weak, and they're like 250 bucks for a freaking pair of torsion bars. No, we're not doing that. $70 air shocks. Amazon, thank you. All right, so I'll go ahead and get those pulled off, and we'll go ahead and start cutting some of this flat stock to make the mounts. All right, so then with the shock out of the way, I still have my cafer bar right there. So that's where our shock goes. So now I'm gonna go ahead and cut a piece of plate, bring it around. We're gonna go ahead and put the cage back on and really check this out a little bit closer. Let's do that. Let's slide it on. All right, so that is pretty level with the bottom of the engine case. So we got pretty level. And then this is what I was talking about. So we make a small plate to go from here to here, hole, maybe make a slit in this, slide it in, get more welding penetration. I don't know, we'll figure it out here. We will figure it out. That's the gist of it. So let's get crack-a-lackin'. All right, well, we got everything pretty much rough tacked in, a little bit extra. So long story short, that mounts in up top, plate comes over. Now I am going to add a secondary plate on the back side and kind of taper over so it kind of comes poop poop like that. Definitely make it strong. Not going to do that right this minute, but yeah, I think that'll work out pretty well. Definitely get lots of weld penetration on that. May not even need to really triangulate that on the back side, to be honest with you, but it wouldn't hurt. I mean, why not overdo it and have that the strongest part of the whole thing? Kind of what I'm thinking. All right, let's pull this thing off and see how far we can get. I didn't bother showing you the welding part of it because, well, you've seen me weld. But let me show you the welds before I grind them down. Do I need to grind them? I don't know. I can still hear this thing sizzling. Ooh, it's getting warm. All right, so what I did is I ran and filled everything real good, turned the welder up, put a second pass on it. Did the same right here. So I'm tying in the plate and the tube to the tube so everything is solid. That's a hole I still need to fill, but was one of the pinholes or something to be able to secure it, because remember, we turned this around. So that is super on there. And like I was saying, I was thinking about running a plate on this side, just a small one, and 90ing over. Wow, that's still really hot. And I did the other side. This side was first. So I'm thinking about running a plate over and just kind of 90ing it right here. I don't think it's really gonna need it, to be honest with you. This thing is super duper solid, still smoking hot. And again, same thing here. Remember, we flipped these around, so these were the access holes to be able to pin it. But that is, I mean, it's not horrible, it's not great, but it's super strong. I will tell you that. This will bend long before any of this will give away. And just to give you an idea, so here's the thickness wall that we used. So there's the size difference in what we're using. Much stronger, weaker. I don't really care about weight, I want strength. So that's why I'm not too worried about this. Once we get everything mounted, leveled, and exactly where we want it, I'm not going to use quick release pins. I'm actually going to drill these out a little bit bigger and actually run some grade 8 hardware through it, nut and bolt it. So that's going to be a lot stronger than these little safety pin, little trailer hitch things that they originally used to pin it in place. I mean, it works, but shouldn't be taking this thing off very often. And if we're going to try to pull a small trailer behind it, yeah, those aren't going to work. So we got an issue. It's Saturday. I'm out of big gas. They're closed. I'm out of spray paint because we need to paint this. Guess we're just gonna have to ixnay this project for now. Let's see if we can move on to the shocks. See if I can get these things to work. I give up with this whole camera thing. You saw nothing of the install. Let me show you what we did. Maybe this one will record. Oh God. So, if you remember earlier in the video, I had to move this over just a smidge, which left me a hole. I didn't like having a hole. Well, look at that. That's where now we can add air to the air shocks. So the bottom part stuck out a little bit. We had to trim that flat, went right in. Upper one, actually had to drill that out just a little bit and it slid right in place. I have the tube coming out to the T right here, going across the other side. And if you look, my tires are almost perfectly straight with only 35 to 40 pounds of pressure in them. I don't need much, just enough to level it out. And now when I take off, the back end doesn't go squat so bad either. Much better. A little bit more room in the fender well, much better. So I need to pull the tank, get gas, so we can finish this up. I mean, it's all pretty much final welded, everything's good. Need to drill holes in it eventually, get those marked. But we got to put it on to do that, and well, I'm out of gas. We still need to figure out the hitch thing, which I wanted to put it up in here in this upper part, but the muffler's in the way, so that means we have to mount it lower. Not sure how I'm going to do it yet. Again, I was thinking about using this thick 1/4 inch plate of angle and this receiver, cut it down. I don't think that's going to work, so I may have to find a big flat plate of metal and then just kind of, I don't know, make it so it welds in and sticks out far enough, and just put the ball on it to make it kind of permanent, not a removable receiver hitch. So when I get that figured out, I'll bring you back. It'll be another day. I didn't bother recording all that because you've seen me weld before. So let me give you an overview real quick of what we did. Yes, I went in and changed. I didn't weld in shorts and flip-flops. No, I did. I had pants and shoes on because I was welding and grinding. So here's what we did. I wanted to put an actual receiver in this. However, the muffler's right here up in this section. It was in the way. Hold on, let me flip this over. All right, let's see if I can hold this at the same time. So what I did is that is 1/4 inch thick angle, and of course the receiver. So yeah, the welds look a little blotchy, but let me tell you, the angle to the tube right there is actually 2 passes of weld. On this front side right here, where the 1/4 inch angle hits this, there's 3 passes. And then same thing back here. On those gussets, there's 2 passes, 3 passes on that, 2 passes on that. Actually looks pretty decent. So I'm pretty confident that the rest of the car will probably fall apart before this hitch comes off. Or the entire tube structure will fail before this hitch comes off. I mean, if you notice there, that's some really good penetration. It's not going anywhere. 3 passes on 3 sides. On one side, 3 passes on 3 sides. On the other side, it's not going anywhere. Sorry, 4 passes on the front side. So, that's the hitch. Got a little bit of cleanup work to do on it. You know, try to address some of those welds. Maybe, I don't know. Again, we're not trying to make it perfect. I did put it on the car and verify that this 1/4 inch plate is actually, and all of this clears the muffler. Ooh, still really hot, and I stopped welding on that like a half hour ago. But it is solid. It's not going anywhere. And again, 1/4 inch thick plate. I mean, that's 1/4 inch. Thick stuff. That's not going to bend. And again, I'm just pulling a small little trailer behind it. You know what I mean? Like a little luggage trailer, motorcycle type trailer behind it. Throw all my camping stuff in so I don't have to load the car down on the roof rack and then the back seat package tray area. We're not towing, you know, a 24-foot center console boat. Wonder if we could. That's besides the point. We're not going to try that yet. Anybody with a 24-foot boat locally? Just curious. Joking. Am I? Okay, enough. So, I am done for the day. We're going to go ahead and let this thing cool off for quite a while, clean up, put stuff away, and then we'll come back and continue some more. All right, well, it's the next day, and okay, it's days later. I'm drenched because it's hot, because it's Florida. All I did was finish welding things, throw a coat of paint on it. I was going to Raptor line it, but decided, screw it. Just throw a coat of paint on it. It'll be good enough. Got it mounted up there to the shock tower. Grade 8 bolt down there. It's level, it looks good. And that's one of those receivers where, or sorry, balls where you can put the different size balls on there, because some stuff is 1 7/8, some is 2 inch. So this way it kind of gives it a little bit of flexibility. So now we got to wire things in. Got a third brake light. I think because all you see there is the muffler, I think we're going to move the tag down here. I got to figure out a tag light, wire in the third brake light, and then I got these. These are going to be backup lights. So they'll actually mount, and they're about like that. One on each side. That'll be tons of light for backup. Tons of light. Tag there, third brake light. And we'll just call it done. All right, so next up, you start wiring stuff. All right, well, that's it. We're done. I'm gonna show you the progress, but guess what happened? You got it. The camera didn't record. Again, I think I'm gonna just give up on that. So here's where we're at. We moved the tag from the very top of the wing down to there. But the problem is The way that this mounts on, I mean, really, it was a pain to do the lights, so I put the lights at the bottom. These little LED lights I got off of Amazon, and then just put 2 riv nuts into the existing holes and mounted the tag. We're good to go there. We got our 3rd brake light wired up, back lights wired up. So let's give it a test and see how it looks. Oh, one other thing I did is I did put a piece of aluminum back up in here. It's like 3/16 or something like that, just to help, because it helps with the rigidity, and it's very, very solid. So let's go ahead and test it out and see what you think. Backup lights. And then these are the 2 little LEDs. They're actually pretty bright. So it'll light up the tag light pretty good, but overall, I say we're A-okay. Backup lights, 3rd brake light, tag lights. Now with the tag light, we're 100% legal. So, all right. Well, that pretty much wraps up that. Next up, I need to do a roof rack. I just don't know when I'm gonna have time for that. But I do have something special to show you guys on the next video, so stay tuned. Till then, be kind to one another and be good.